What is going on, soccer fans? Welcome to the 12th episode of the Soccer Shots Greater Hartford, Central Connecticut podcast. My name is Seth Willerziak, and this is my co-host, Shannon Perry, who is the owner of the Greater Hartford, Central Connecticut Soccer Shots franchise. Shannon, it's been a while. How you doing today?
Been a minute, Seth. Been a minute. Winter dug in, and yeah. So here we are, getting ready for spring season. So yeah, ready to dive in here, man.
Yes. We do apologize to our viewers. We know it's been a while since we got a podcast out. Just a lot going on in the winter. Getting ready for our spring season. But we promise you there will be more content, more podcasts this season. So stay tuned, get ready, and let's get into it. So as you guys can see from the title of the episode, today we're going to be talking about sort of the do's and don'ts of being a soccer parent. It's going to be a parent-based episode. We'll also be discussing how parents can reinforce soccer shot values outside of Soccer Island, along with a couple other items as well that we'll get into. But Shannon, are you ready to go?
Hold on, Seth. I'm getting ready for the spring season here. I got some new sunglasses. Just prepping up. Got my listening ears on. There we go. My listening ears on.
There we go.
So yeah, so I'm ready. I am ready. I'm ready. Froggy loves soccer, is what I've been reading all winter, and just to keep me fresh. Head it, boot it, shoot it, knee it, but don't use your hands. All right, there we go.
Yes. For our viewers that don't know, we've this winter we've been going to a lot of different schools and reading soccer stories to the kids. So it's been a really fun and cool experience to do. And Froggy was one of our favorite books. So it was definitely great. So
well, before we dive in here, since Seth, what is your favorite book that we've read to kids?
That's a good question. I mean, obviously Froggy's up there, but if I had to say something that wasn't Froggy, I really liked Lucy. Lucy Tries Soccer. I think that's what it was called. I know the kids were into that one. And for the older kids though, I did enjoy reading the Mia Hamm one. Mia Hamm was a pretty good one for the older kids. So I would say those two were my favorite.
Yeah. So folks probably didn't know we were getting into a whole book review thing. Our Rotten Tomatoes of children's books. My favorite was Maisie. Maisie Plays Soccer.
Maisie.
I like Lucy too, and Froggy. As probably everyone knows out there's so many Froggy books. We had to almost do that by memory the last time we read it, because we had read it so many times it had been destroyed and missing pages. And I will say, I don't even know if we're allowed to do this, Seth, but the Berenstain Bears soccer book, no, I just could not get behind the Berenstain Bears soccer book personally. Now, I should say to the families out there, the kids loved all the books we read.
True.
But we had our own personal favorites. But if you've got any recommendations for us, let us know. And if you want us to come read to somewhere, we'll do that. We love doing that. So
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. If any of you guys have any favorite soccer stories that you like, comment down below. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you guys. So yeah. All right. Well, without further ado, let's get into these questions here. So like I said, it's going to be really focused on parents and the do's and don'ts of being a soccer parent, what parents can do to help their kid succeed at a young age, with soccer, outside of soccer. So we're going to be covering a lot there today. So yeah, let's jump right into it here. So Shannon, I'll have you start with this question, and we'll have a conversation about it. We could both answer as well. But after a session or a game, what should you say and what should you not say on the car ride home as a parent? And do you think what is said can help build confidence or pressure for that child?
Yeah, great question, Seth. And yeah, as I reflect on it, I'm kind of coming at it from two perspectives. One as a maybe even three, as a soccer shots coach and kind of what I've seen and learned, but also as a parent once of young kids who are players or participants. I'll say that the debate is out on my kids if they were players. If you're listening at home, and then. Yeah, as coach and as I was once a kid and my own parents and what I took away. But I would say that one of to resist the urge to ask them how they did, right? Did they do it well or were they good? And that kind of asking them, are you a good player? Were you a good player? Are you better? Certainly at the younger ages, resist the temptation to ask questions in your head that might be making them a good soccer player. And
Right.
as a parent, I was guilty of that. So I would say the first thing, whether they're 2 years old, 3 years old, 10 years old, 14 years old, did they have fun? What did they like best about the day? And that would be the first question I would ask. And if they want to talk about it, they want to talk about it. If they don't, they don't. I also wouldn't push them to talk about it necessarily.
Yeah.
Kids are like, Ted Lasso fans, the goldfish, the short memories.
Yep.
I know with my own kids, would go to a game, get in the car. They were on to the next thing they were going to do that day. The game was ancient history to them. So, to revisit that kind of thing. So, if they don't want to talk, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. They might play the whole game or done the whole soccer shot session, looking forward to their next activity or whatever it is that day. But I would resist the urge to evaluate and break down what they did right and what they did wrong from a soccer standpoint. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I completely agree with everything you said there. I think for me, like, parents don't sometimes parents don't realize how much weight their words carry for their kids, especially when it comes to sport and athletics. I think, yeah, you just need to be, you need to be very careful, especially with very young kids and what you say. And you don't want to attack them, after a session and kind of be like, oh, why didn't you do this? Or, why didn't you score? Why, you need to try harder. You need to do this. Like, I think that's, the complete wrong way to go about it. And that can stress out the kid, put pressure on the kid, make them, not want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And as a parent, I feel, you need to be, I think it's fine to ask questions, but you need to be asking the right questions. Like, you finish a soccer shot session, you get in the car, you're on that ride home. You want to talk to your kid about how it went, but you got to ask those right questions. And like, did you have fun? Because, we'll get more into the fun part later, but, did you have fun? Maybe like, what was your favorite part? I loved watching you out there. I loved seeing you play, like, things like that. So I think asking those kind of questions, saying those kind of statements can really help build confidence in the kids, rather than, asking those wrong questions, which can put a lot of pressure on them. So
I think you just hit on some great things, Seth. Is to notice I would challenge parents or whatever, find 2 or 3 things that you really liked that they did. I liked the way how fast you ran, or I liked the way you were listening. And or if your kid is shy, I'm so proud of the way you got out there today and just went on the soccer field or went on Soccer Island. Just notice those victories. I mean, The challenge, and we talk about this a lot, is, we're about to embark on our spring season, and it'll be a lot of kids' first time ever with a new coach or with different kids. It's also the first time for parents. A lot of times it might be their first kid, and they are unsure about what to do and want to do it right. And doing it right is just kind of supporting their effort without being critical, resisting the urge to, especially as former soccer players, you want to say, oh man, technique, and get into this.
Right.
But I turned out to be a pretty good soccer player. My parents didn't know diddly about soccer, but cheer me on, or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's probably like anything that your kids are learning, whether it's piano or some musical instrument or something. Just continue to support them and let them own the journey a little bit. And what you, I mean, let's be honest. Most things that kids start at young ages are one of many things. So they might only do a couple of seasons or years of soccer, but what are they going to learn from that they can take to their art or their ballet or what have you? So yeah.
Absolutely.
I think before we were on, or maybe you just mentioned the pressure. I mean, just imagine yourself if you go out there and you feel like you're being evaluated, right? Or you're being watched. I think of my kids when they would go to college showcase tournaments or ID days, and they know they're being watched by a coach or what have you. That brings a certain amount of pressure that kids don't need at any age. Good stuff.
Yeah. Yep. 100% agree with you on all of that. Yeah. I think it's very important as a parent, say the right thing, encourage your child, build up their confidence with what you ask, what you say. You don't want to try and tear them down, especially when they're first starting out in sport. So that was great. Let's move on here to our next question. And this one's intriguing to me, so I'm very interested to hear what you have to say. How can parents tell if their child is actually improving, even if they're not scoring goals or standing out?
That is a good question. How can they tell if they're improving?
Because I feel like as as coaches, I mean, we talk about it all the time. We see, like we as coaches can identify like who those standout kids are. Like we've all had them. We've all had the one kid that's, you can tell is just better than the rest. And that happens from time to time. But like, what other ways can, even if a parent's their kid isn't that standout kid scoring those goals in the scrimmage, how can a parent at the end of a session be like, oh, okay, I see that they improved in this. Maybe it's something, physically or emotionally, like,
Yeah, boy, I'm thinking of kids and how we notice. I'll start with one thing. I think it's okay for parents to ask the coach, excuse me, at any age. I think it's okay, even in our setting for 3-year-olds, for a parent to say, hey, how can I support my kid? Is there something, is he or she improving? What are you seeing? I think that's okay. I think and I would, as a parent, what would you, at the beginning of a season, what do you want to see at the end of a season? If you can, you can't always do it, but if you can come to the first session of a season, and, we're doing very basic stuff, dribbling, control, and then just kind of see where they are there. If they can't, or if they have difficulty putting their foot on the ball, and then they can do it in the second or third, that's improvement, right?
Right.
If they can see that they're picking it up with their hands and now they're not, that's improvement. So you can see, very basic things. simply the younger the kids, it's easier to see. So we do a lot of 2-year-olds also, right? And what are they doing on that first day? They can't put their foot on the ball. They don't even know they're not supposed to use their hands, right?
Right. Yeah.
And by the end of a season, you can see that they know that soccer is a game played with your feet. You move it with your feet. They can control, and they start to show off. This is such a great question. So as they get older, when they dribble, are they take everything that we're teaching them at a basic young age on a first session, control dribbling. If they can dribble back and forth, right now, can they change direction? Can you progress? Can you change speed? Can you do a pullback? Can you do a trick? So, some of the why things, if you ask them, one way to see if they're improving is just ask them questions, right? The first day, they may not know a lot of these. They may not, they're excited by dribbling, but then they want to, can you change directions? Can you change speed? What part of you, by asking questions, you can kind of see if they're improving. It's tricky. 4 and 5 years old, we're not doing tactics, right? So we're not getting into overlapping runs and that kind of thing. But we are getting into ball mastery kinds of things and rules of the game and being a good teammate or supporter there. Yeah. But this is a great question, Seth. I didn't anticipate this question. If I was are they going after the ball, right? I think that's a big thing for a lot of kids. Are they running? Are they moving? Kind of thing. And this is for up until they're 6, 7 years old. And then what parts of the foot? You have your toe, but you also have your laces. You have all those kinds of things. Yeah. Great questions. But I'm sorry to interrupt, but don't be afraid to ask your coach. What are you saying? Right. What have they gotten better at? I would. Yeah, I would kind of keep it there, but don't stress it. Don't stress it if they're not improving the way you think they should be, because I know you come from a family of educators, but that the learning development journey is not this straight line, right? Right. They're going to get this, then they might kind of do this, all through their whole lives. So resist that urge. There was this person I coached with years ago on a career level, and his philosophy was, I don't care how many games they win up until the last game when they're U17 game. That's the game I want to know that they won. Up until then, I'm just coaching and teaching and all that, which I thought was an interesting way to look at. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. I kind of thought about this question sort of from like an emotional standpoint for a kid and for a parent. Like for me as a coach, and just having done so many sessions and seeing kids' behaviors like on Soccer Island, I think as a parent there's many things you could take away from that, even if it's not like physical, even if like anything with ball mastery they're struggling with any they can't do a pullback, that's okay, they'll get there. But I think there's other things like one thing I thought of was how comfortable they are being on Soccer Island, like with other kids and a coach. I think if at least I just especially shy one, very engaged because they're shy, they're a bit nervous. And I think if your kid starts to be more engaged, stay on Soccer Island, engage with other teammates, the coach, like I think that's an improvement. Like even if they're not standing out soccer wise physically, I think you can see that improvement. I think if they're listening better, and like I said, staying engaged. Um, and you're noticing, maybe over an 8-week season, you're noticing massive improvement in terms of like listening skills. I think that's something that can help, or that can be an improvement, that you can see, that a parent can see. Um, and yeah, I think, are just confidence in general. Like, are they more confident than they were a few weeks ago? Like, are they developing, more trust in the coach and their teammates? Are they, um, just yeah, being more confident, trying new things on Soccer Island that maybe they weren't. So I think there's just there's a bunch of different ways, like, again, both physically, that like kind of that you were talking about, but also like emotionally and with different characteristics that can help, that a parent can see over like the course of a season of their kid improving.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's such a great question, Seth. And as you're talking, I was writing down so many things that you were responding to. You talk about confidence here, and how do we know they're quite a bit, and trusting in themselves. I would say
yeah,
one way to check is, are they on their own trying new things,
yeah,
right? So are they
yep,
on their own uh, going in a different direction? Or, we talk about stepping over. Maybe they're doing silly things with a ball now that
yeah,
are just creative. If they're doing that, that's how confidence is manifesting itself, right? So they want to do it, and they want to try something else, almost like a free play kind of thing, and where they're experimenting. They're in the soccer laboratory and they're trying this, and they're
yeah,
dancing on whatever. If they're starting to do that, they're confident enough where they want to do that. If they
yep,
want to start to show you things, Mom, Dad, Coach Seth, look at what I can do, right? Um, you know, there's probably some improvement behind that. That kid made started, did one
yeah,
pullback, and now they're doing that. So yeah, it's
right,
interesting when I'm coaching. A lot of times, I try as much as possible not discourage that creativity and innovativeness. So we set up Soccer Island. There might be the touch lines where they go out of bounds, and they're
yep,
it's so funny. Kids will they we need a wall or something, but they just run, right. They'll just run off soccer with the ball.
yeah,
And
all the
on the
time.
one hand, you want to say, all right, in soccer, you can't go over there, and we talk about the soccer sharks. On the other hand, you don't want to discourage that, because if they're running fast with the ball, that's a good thing. We'll worry about,
Right,
later,
true,
if they're staying in bound, or, that's also a teachable moment. That's
yep,
great. I love how you dribble. Do you think you can dribble back really fast, and can you, and then make it a little bit harder? You think you can do that while you're on the field, but you want to applaud that on the one hand, but then use a teachable moment. Um, so when they start trying, I had a kid once. I can't. It's what how I'm going to explain. It's not going to do justice to it. But there was we were talking about the Cruyff turn one session with some kids, and
Mhm.
and I used to say, he was so good, he had a move named after him, right? And then maybe one day you'll have a move named after you, and they would
Right,
score a goal, and some kid would. I think his name was Mike, but I'll say it was Mike, and he wasn't a great, even at that age. He was kind of, uh, if you had to predict, at that time, he was not going to be a soccer player, but he was a great kid. He would
yeah,
dribble
yeah,
to the goal, do his little, and then he would do a somersault, and then go and dribble again. And, you know, laughter. So we just started calling that the Mike move. And so then every session, that was amazing. You had a move. We named the move after you. So then the other kids wanted a move named after them. But it was so funny. But his creativity and just thinking on his own, um, it was an example. And another example I'd love to share, kind of unrelated. We don't really do goalies, and but there
right,
was a young kid who once he was the goal. We used to do a goalie week, and he was the goalie. You use your hands, and so only the goalie can use your hands, right? So he saves the ball, has it in his hand, and he runs the whole length of field, the whole length soccer eye in his hands. and he puts it down and he scores it all. And I'm thinking, on the one hand, he said, well, I can use my hands. I said, you know what? You're exactly right. But we don't have a penalty box or anything like that. But it was,
Yeah.
But there was a confident kid. It was so confident running down. Actually made me think of different ways to play. That'd be kind of cool in like a Premier League game if the goalies could run. They were the only player that could run and put it in with their hands. But yeah, but it's so when they start experimenting and trying new things, can they, both feet, right? So a lot of times we're just happy when they can kick a ball with one foot. If they start trying it with their other, you can ask them, can you do it with your other foot, right? That was a long answer. I'm sorry, but your point, I was thinking confidence. How does that show, right? It shows when they start trying new things, and we should encourage that, and we should, within our little curriculum script, we need to figure out constantly how do we encourage that, because soccer, right, is, in my mind, is the most creative game there is. It's when you're out there playing, it's the game that's least coached. All your work is kind of coaches. There's no timeouts. There's none of this. They have to think on their own. There's no set plays, free kicks and corner kicks, but there's not a lot of that. It is about creativity and confidence and ingenuity. So yeah, great question, Seth. One that's going to have me thinking after this podcast.
Yeah, no, that was a great answer. Yeah, if any of our viewers, if you guys have any thoughts on that question of your own, please leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that question, because it's a thinker.
Yeah,
it's a very
staying with that a little bit. So I know I mentioned, and I don't know, I know your parents, as we get in here, how your parents were. My parents knew nothing about soccer. I'm obviously older than you, and it was still not as popular as it is today. They knew nothing, and so they were learning the game through my eyes. But I used to joke. I mean, through college playing, my mom would always, "You played a great game every time," and I think she believed it. And then you get to be that age as a teenager. I'm like, Mom, I was horrible. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I couldn't do this. I couldn't that. So when kids can start evaluating themselves, they're making progress. But and I was the same way with one of my sons who wound up being a wrestler. I knew nothing. I always thought he was doing great, right? So but letting coaches in a way is another thing. You can ask when they're ready. Ask them, what do you think you did well? If they're ready to talk about, what do you do well? Or another favorite of mine is when ask your kids to teach you, right? So hey, can you teach me how to do a pullback, right? It's
exactly.
That's right. As coaches and educators, that's if you can teach something, it's one thing to do it, but when you can teach it, it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you're getting me amped up, Seth. I can't get on Soccer Island soon enough.
Well, I'm glad you're amped up, because our next question involves fun. So, next question here is, why is having fun so important at a young age, and what happens when sports become too serious too early?
I think probably
it's an interesting one.
Sort of know the answer to that, and we all have stories of that in our own lives, and Well, at the end of the day, what are we doing out here? It's a game. It is a game, and if you're not having fun, you're not playing the game correctly. In my mind, I try to tell myself that this is supposed to be fun. If it's not fun, either we're doing something wrong, parents are doing something wrong, or something is off. And I don't care how old you are. If you're not having fun, that's it. And I always, now, if your goal is to create the next Messi, if you're a parent out there and you want the next Messi or Mia Hamm or Ronaldo, here's what I would say to you. I would say it's never going to happen if they're not having fun, right? So we had a coach, I probably shared the story with you. was a phenomenal player, Stephanie Santos, if you're out there. She played University of Hartford, wound up playing briefly, I think, for the Portuguese national team. And she was so good. She was such a good player. And she came into the office. She coached with us for quite a bit. And came off. She goes, yeah, we're not really doing soccer. We were talking about something today, whatever. I said, Steph. And she was also, as a lot of good players are, practice when she wasn't playing. She would come in and she had played and went running and done all these things that good players do, and juggle. Yeah. I said, Stephanie, why do you do all this? Why do you juggle and this? She goes, I love the game. I said, there you go. If we can get kids to love the game, the juggling, the fitness, and all that, will take care of themselves. They'll take care of themselves. And we can go on and on. As you were asking a question, I was thinking great athletes, world athletes that we all know. Andre Agassi, his story of burnout and pressure, and he had a dad who was on him. I'm thinking tennis at the moment, Jennifer Capriati. Pressure from that pressure was not really from it was from her father, a parent, right? Overbearing in these cases, overbearing father who took away the love for the game. And then Agassi's one of my favorite athletes, but when he came back, his whole frame was different. Was just playing for playing. Yeah. And I know you're gonna kill me, Seth, but because I love stories. But the best story I heard this once with Kyle Martino, who was a U.S. national team player and commentator. I think it was on the Premier League. I think he's commentating for one of the networks now. But he spoke at a Soccer Shots convention one year and told his, and he's a Connecticut kid went to Staples High School. Yeah, and he became burnt out, I think, going through the academies and all this, and was ready to quit. And because he just lost to love. And so and it's a remarkable story when you think about, especially when you think about how kids get identified, but essentially took himself out of the academy process, out of the pyramid soccer, and went back to just playing pickup and played for his high school team his senior year. And he said all the national team games he played in, the funnest season he ever had was playing for Staples his senior year. He was playing with his friends. He was having fun. He was, they'd win a game. He'd be in the hallways and people, that whole thing. And then he came back in and became the player he was. But he went and played pickup. I think it was in Florida somewhere with some immigrants, just a pickup game of people. They were just playing for sheer love of the game, like on a Sunday morning, pickup soccer somewhere. And he said they were really, really good. Two, they were just having fun, and it kind of brought him back to why he fell in love with the game in the first place. Again, another long. You must be asking great questions today because I've got these long answers. But so the fun is the most important thing, and you can apply that to other things, right? That we all do in life, whether that's running or art or karaoke or whatever. Well, I have fun doing karaoke, but I'm horrible at it. And I know I've shared this with you, but so I've been taking conga lessons for a year. I am so bad, but I have because I'm trying to be good. That's the problem. I'm trying to be good, and it's been a great window for me and how we learn, right? When I'm just banging around, that's just fun. But now I'm kind of at the point where I'm starting to try new things. And I had a couple of weeks ago where, he was encouraged me to do kind of and I said, I was just waiting for your permission to do that. He goes, you didn't need my permission, but giving your kids permission to take risks and screw up, that's okay, right? And now it's become, for it was going to be, I stink, I'm suck, I'm not getting it, and now it's just kind of been a little fun again. But I mean, it's always been fun, but when I'm not having fun, it's because I'm trying too hard uh, to be good, and I'm never going to be good. So just have fun with it, and then you get to the point in learning, right, where it's a struggle, and then the breakthrough can be fun. But sometimes the breakthrough comes when you're just being creative. Like you and I were in the car the other day, just kind of talking about things. Boom, an organic breakthrough comes, and in anything, right? So yeah.
No,
What are we talking about here, Seth, today? I don't even know. I'm going on all these different directions.
No, I love the Shannon story time. It's great.
For those of you, I'm working on a children's book.
It's great. It's great. Yeah, you should. No, that was a great answer. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think, yeah, if you're not having fun, like what are you doing really? I mean, it's for me, like, fun. I mean, it's really, it's the foundation. It's the foundation for like, especially in sport, for any sort of long-term success that you want in sport. You come back to why you do it, the foundation of it, because it's fun. And when I, look at it, for kids who are just starting out, when kids are having fun in sport, generally they want to come back, they want to keep doing it. They're more open to learning new things about the sport, new skills, and just naturally they'll just build confidence as well.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
I,
fun, I think, is the root of everything with sport, because, like, if as a parent, if you put too much pressure on your kid early, you want them to be the next Messi, Ronaldo, Mia Hamm, anyone like that. I feel like a few things could happen if really put a lot of pressure on that kid, and it becomes too serious, like, for them. Um, one, I mean, they're just gonna feel more pressure than fun and excitement, and it's that's not going to be good for them. um they'll they'll I think they'll eventually become afraid to make any sort of mistakes if it
yeah.
becomes too serious,
Yeah.
which is, you never want. You want them to want to learn, to want to make a mistake and get better. You don't want them to be afraid to do that, because we know, making mistakes is how you get better.
Yep.
And then, you know, I mean, this is an obvious one, but, if it becomes too serious, too much pressure, like, they'll just lose interest, especially as a kid. Like, they'll just want to do something else, that is fun and doesn't have that pressure. So, I mean, fun is beyond important, and it's why it's, one of our main, values here at Soccer Shots. I mean, it's what our curriculum is based on. It's why we always have, silly coaches out there, because we want those kids. Yes, we're teaching them soccer, but yeah, we want them to, know it's a fun and safe environment, to learn that as well. So for
Yeah.
me, fun is everything.
Yeah. And let me, yeah, it's interesting. I'm imagining what kind of pushback might get to the fun thing. Parenting is hard,
Yep.
right? And every kid is different. And as you were talking about fun, I kind of wrote down a couple things. I think as a parent, find out what they want. What do they want,
Yeah.
right? And you might have a
Yep.
kid even at 4 years old who wants to be the next Messi, right? Some kids just that's what they want.
Yeah.
Other kids
Yep.
may not know. That's fine, and and know what they want, not what you want in terms of soccer.
Right.
What do pretty much every parent wants their kid to be, mentally, physically healthy, and just a good person, right? To be a good kid,
Right.
and we're trying to raise good adults, and so kind of knowing what they want. Like, I've had 3 kids, 2 of them, and 3 different personalities, and I had a rec player and she was out there as much for the social, have a little fun. That's what she wanted, and that's okay.
Right.
Then I had, another one. Two younger ones were the quintessential. They're playing club, they're playing travel, they're doing all that stuff, but very different personalities. The one was, had that DNA, right? He was gonna, to make it fun for him. You knowing when to bring challenge and what kind of challenge, right? So bringing challenge to one might be in a different way than bringing challenge to the other one. My youngest one, he didn't want to ever want to practice through college, play games, games. And the other one wants to win and do all that. So kind of knowing what your kids want, and another thing that's fun is bringing the appropriate amount of challenge, and when they get through it, that's fun. That's exciting, right? When you can do something new. So if they're dribbling, kind of back to our early example, if they're just dribbling around and you see that, well, they're keeping it close, how can you bring some challenge to it, right? So I know sometimes we have groups, right? It's a victory. They can dribble around, kick the ball, knock it over with a cone. All right, they've mastered that. That would be boring if that's all they did every single time. It'd be boring to the kid. So an easy way to bring challenge, can you do it faster? Right? I don't know. Right. Can you beat Coach Shannon? Right? So you're bringing challenge, they're building confidence, and you're also creating fun by making it harder. So knowing what they want, understanding every kid is different, but it's about what they want, not what necessarily what you want outside of you want a good kid. Yeah. I would say, if you don't mind, do you mind?
No, go for it.
This is kind of a sidebar. I mentioned balance, and I was thinking, youth sports now, the kids are dropping out earlier, right? They're playing and then they quit before they get to college because they're burned out. And I would say the younger they are, it's multiple sports, multiple activities. Keeps it fun for them. If they're having a bad day on the soccer field, or especially as they get older, it's not going well here, but they have something else they're good at, right? So their whole identity is not wrapped up in whatever it is. I remember, a young woman now who's a phenomenal player and did all the premier thing, and I was asking her one day, where are you going to play in college? She wasn't going to play in college because she was tired of it, tired of the practice. It just became a job sort of thing. And so keeping it balanced in terms of interests and activities, and So, but parenting is hard. So knowing that.
Nah, absolutely, yeah. No, that was very well said, and kind of with the parenting being hard part, kind of moving on to our next question here, it kind of goes with it here. So what would you say are some common mistakes that parents make on the sidelines, even with the best intentions? Especially those soccer parents.
Are you that soccer parent? Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of hinted at a few of them. I think the most common mistake is to coach them when they have another coach. So then they start to hear, regardless of multiple voices, right? So they've got Coach Seth telling them one thing, so they're listening for that. Then they're listening to a parent. Then they're listening to, so it becomes resist the urge. No matter what age, let the coach and let your kid listen to one voice, and then you can talk about it. I would say that's a common mistake. Forgetting even what they're saying, they could be saying fine things. And then if you have to say something, just good things, right? So I love the way you did that.
Encouragement.
Yeah, encouragement. Love the way you did control. Love the way you were dribbling, and in our sessions, right, if parents and families, they see what we're working on, or, if it's controlled today, and just reinforce what we're working on, right? So if we're working on dribbling that day, tell them what a great dribbler they are, and, resist the urge to coach all of soccer in one session, right? It's it's a lot. So be quiet.
Yeah.
Be quiet.
Yep.
Cheer them on. Cheer on other kids also. I think that's one thing I love, when parents cheer on other kids that aren't their own kid. Yeah. And I was about to get into another story, but I'm not. But yeah, resist that urge to, and I think resist the urge to worry about whether they've won or lost.
Yeah, for sure.
Because chances are, most kids, when they walk off, a lot of times they don't know if they've won or lost until we reinforce it. And then it's all about a successful soccer day is if they've won or lost.
Yeah.
Is it? Not really.
Right.
If your kid's playing, they're going to play 1,000 soccer games. If they win a game at 4 years old, is it? That's great. It is a competitive game.
Right.
They'll get there. They'll get there, but resist that urge to do that. Yeah. I'm trying to. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, you pretty much hit on all the points I was gonna say. I mean, the biggest thing is definitely just like, resisting the urge to be, coaching from the sideline, yelling instructions to your kids. It could be a bit overwhelming for them, especially, if they're trying to listen to, Coach Seth or Coach Shannon, trying to focus on what they're doing with the soccer ball, hearing multiple voices at one time. I mean, even for older kids, that's probably overwhelming. So, for younger kids, it's definitely a lot. So that's definitely the main thing. And I think too, as a parent, I mean, I think this one's kind of common sense, but you never know. I think it's like doing comparisons like on the sideline, like kind of saying like, oh, why can't you be more like, Jimmy, or why can't you do what this kid's doing, or that kid, or like, and I mean, as a parent, that should be common sense to not really say that and do that to your kids, but because obviously it would just hurt their confidence real bad. And each kid develops at their own pace. So, if they're not getting something right away, that's okay. They'll probably get it at a later time, which is fine. So honestly, yeah, I think, the best thing parents can do, like you said, be quiet, let the coach coach. They know what they're doing. And, as a parent for your kid, just be present, be positive, encourage them, and just let the kids play and let them have fun. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. Good words. Good words.
So parents, if you're listening, don't be that parent on the sideline. Okay. Don't be that parent.
If I had one word to say to parents, especially first time parents are new to all this, relax,
Yep.
and take pleasure that your child, whatever, is out there having some fun and running around, and enjoy that, right? And it's okay. And it's, as you said, Seth, the last thing you want to introduce is fear of judgment, fear of doing something wrong, because kids, if they're doing something wrong on Soccer Island, or a 2-year-old, for example, they don't know it's wrong.
Yeah.
And to pick it up with their hands. And actually, in a way, it's not wrong. It's what they know. And, that's how there's a childhood educator once told me, the younger they are, they learn from their head. Their feet are the last thing that they learn. So when they're picking up a ball, they want to know what it feels like, right? They just want to know,
Right.
it's a shape, it feels like this.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sitting
100%.
here thinking next time I coach, how can I, maybe we'll have a hand moment where, all right, let's feel, is it round, da, da, da,
Yep.
um,
Yep.
those kinds of things.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just enjoy it. And I would say, even it, no, I don't want to sound condescending or patronizing, because I've made probably every mistake we've talked about as a parent, I've made. And, my kids were on here. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Dad, you said, right. So one of those, but it ain't always keep in mind, it is their game. It's their journey. And you're there to support it and create the environment, a safe environment where they can succeed. So kind of creating that safe environment.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That was really well said. And uh you pretty much just answered the last question here. Kind of giving one piece of advice to parents. I was going to ask if there's one thing every parent should focus on to help their child succeed in soccer, and just in life outside of soccer. What would that be? Um, if you want to add anything to that, or I can answer it
Yeah,
if.
specifically to Soccer Shots parents, what I would say is, um, we're going to have a lot of new families here, and our weekend and public programs are often in places where kids have never been, and I
Yep.
think of that word safety. So if you can, we got lives you're working, maybe that first day, get there early. So just let the kids settle into the environment, whatever the park is, the walk from the car to the soccer island. Um, Oftentimes I've seen the last kid who's running in the last minute is often the shyest kid, because they're already
Yeah,
worried about that. So,
absolutely.
it's almost like a trial run. If you've got a kid who's maybe a little introverted, go, if you know where your session is. Thinking, we have sessions in West Hartford, Webster Hills School. If your kid has never been there, take
Yep.
them there. This Saturday, if it's not, just, hey, this is where you're going to play soccer, and look at that tree.
Yeah.
And there's afterwards, we're going to be on the playground afterwards. So get the kid excited about all the things
Right.
about that place. And then when they get there, they're going to be jumping out of the car and running over there. Is that what you hope? But
Yeah.
yeah. That I would say that. And, I when parents come up and they apologize for their kid, right? We've all had that. So I'm sorry they did.
Yeah.
99 times out of 100, it's nothing, right? And
Right.
so don't worry about that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was really well said. I agree with that completely. Let's see, if I had to pick one thing for parents to really focus on, I would say to make sure that your kid just feels supported, like no matter what. That support is just the biggest thing. Um, I think when kids know that um, their effort is what matters, and not, whether they're, making mistakes or scoring goals or being that standout player. I think that's really good for a kid, because it means they'll be more willing to, try and, grow, and even, like I said, make mistakes or fail, and that's okay. So just giving that support would go such a long way. And I know I've brought it up every single question, but it's where confidence comes from, and confidence is key. Um, if if our viewers haven't seen, we have it's one of our first few episodes on our channel. It was called Building Confidence Through Soccer. It's a really good watch. There's some really good stuff in there. So please feel free to go on our YouTube channel and give that one a watch, because it's really good.
Yeah.
And uh, and honestly, it just at the end of the day, a lot of kids, they're gonna remember how they felt, because I'm thinking back to when I was a kid,
That's great
and
stuff.
I,
Yeah.
and I like I started playing soccer when I was 4 years old, and I
Well, you should be better.
yeah yeah right um but I remember when I was 4 years old, when I was first starting out, 4, 5, 6 years old. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember the things I did well on the field. I don't remember the scoring goals or do it like, but you know what I do remember is how I felt. I remember how I felt. I remember, my parents encouraging me, family encouraging me, and I remember feeling good with that. And that's probably why I stuck with soccer for the rest of my life. I played soccer all the way from when I was 4 years old up until senior year of high school. If it wasn't for my injuries, I would have played in college too. But I've been playing pretty much my entire life. And again, it's not because I remember, scoring that goal when I was 4 or 5 years old, or dribbling like Messi or anything like, it's because of how I felt. And I remember,
Yeah.
feeling really good about it. And so as a parent, that's what you should be focused on for your kid. Always encourage them, tell them that you're proud of them, and, they'll be really happy and have a
Yeah.
lot of fun with it. So,
Yeah. I know we're kind of close to wrapping up here, but again, as you were another great question, Seth. But I'm reminded of um, Michael Jordan. I guess there was that commercial he had years ago where he talked about he missed 9,000 shots and he lost
yeah,
300 games
I remember
and
that.
all that. That kind of it, and you kind of think about that when you said your memories. All I remember, right, are my great plays, right? And
Hmm.
when I was a kid, I used to go to sleep and remember, like I would try and remember every single goal I had scored. I can remember doing this when I was like 8 years old. And at
Yeah.
that time, I hadn't scored that many, so it was easy. Oh, I remember that one, remember that one.
Yeah,
And those
yeah.
were all these great memories. Um, but, the tagline Soccer Shots sometimes talks about is building stronger youth beyond the game.
Yep.
And, as I think about confidence and how what they're learning here, when they learn how to learn, they can apply that to so many facets of life, right? And what they're learning
Yep.
about learning and having that growth mindset, which is kind of been in the vernacular for years now, but just embracing the growth mindset, and that's what as a parent you can do is kind of
Yeah.
create that learning laboratory and yeah and it is okay. I would resist the urge also to write, all right, soccer shots this week is how can you do it better next week at the you know what, breaking it down, watching film video and breaking it down. All right, this week we're gonna,
Yeah,
resist that
yeah.
urge. Just let them go every week. If they want to go, they're
Yeah.
probably having fun and they're probably, getting better. And,
Right.
um, kind of as you talked about earlier, sometimes getting better is they're just getting more confident in coming. And,
Yep.
every kid, every player, whatever it is in a different place when they start. Yeah,
Yeah.
good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
No, absolutely. Well, that's all the questions that I had today. I thought that was really good. Very very informative. We hope you guys as viewers enjoyed that. But before we go here, Shannon, how can listeners find more information or get involved with Soccer Shots?
Yes, that time of year when our email box is filling up. And if you haven't emailed us yet, email us at ct@soccershots.com. If you've got any questions about what we do, if you want to talk to us individually. I mean, we're happy to talk to parents who've never done it, that this is what it's going to look like when your kid is out there. You can email us. You can visit us, soccershots.com. Go to the website and Did I miss? Where else can you find us? Yeah, the website,
Website.
soccershots.com,
Yep.
and CT at soccershots.com
Yep.
is our email. And social media, I'm sorry, social media, Facebook and
Socials. Yep.
Instagram,
Instagram. Yep.
kind of things. So yeah, and don't be afraid to reach out and ask, and about what Soccer Shots is about, and what we're like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming, right, Seth? It's coming. We're getting
Spring season is
spring is,
upon
yeah. I'm
us.
looking out the
So
window here. I actually sort of see a flower, and I don't see any snow. And knocking on the door here in New England.
yeah, seriously. All right. Well, thank you for that. And we want to thank you all for watching. We hope you guys enjoyed the 12th episode of the Soccer Shots Greater Hartford, Central Connecticut podcast. If you liked the video, please give it a like. Comment what soccer-related topics you would like us to talk about next. And most importantly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
And I'll say one more thing. After you hit the subscribe button, if you want to coach for Soccer Shots, and we're always looking for good people. And if you're a parent and you have that urge to coach, you don't want to coach your own kid, we have plenty of other kids that we need great people to coach. And so love to have you there too, and reach out. But yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We're always looking for great coaches. So if you'd like to join us in the Soccer Shots community, reach out. We'd love to hear from you.
All right, Seth, I know you want to go, so I've just got, my future is so bright. I got to put on my Soccer Shot sunglasses.
I love it. Well, this is Seth and Shannon signing off, and remember to always enjoy the beautiful game.